Congratulations. If you're listening to my voice right now and you're holding physical silver, you have just survived one of the most vicious, coordinated, and absolutely desperate smash campaigns that the bullion banks have thrown at this market in over 3 years. While the paper price was getting crushed, while the mainstream financial media was telling you that silver is dead, while the so-called experts were writing exit memos telling their clients to run for the hills, something catastrophic was happening behind the scenes. Something that proves, without a shadow of a doubt, that the banks are not in control anymore. They are trapped, and the trap is about to snap shut. Ladies and gentlemen, Asian guy here known as John A.G. from Currency Archive, and what I'm about to share with you is going to change the way you see this entire market, because Bank of America, one of the largest bullion banks on planet Earth, has been forced into a corner that they cannot escape. They have been hit with delivery notices for 9 million ounces of physical silver, and they don't have it. Let that sink in for a moment. 9 million ounces that they are contractually obligated to deliver at any price, and the metal is not sitting in their vaults. Now, I know what the comment section is going to say. I can already see it. The critics are going to come out of the woodwork saying, Asian guy, you've been saying this for months. You've been saying the banks are trapped. But the price keeps going down, so how can they be trapped? To those people, I say this. You have been watching the waves while ignoring the tide. You have been looking at the paper price on COMEX, which is nothing more than a digital abstraction, a derivative of a derivative, while the physical market has been quietly, methodically, systematically draining the very lifeblood out of the banking system. The price you see on your screen is not real. It is a carefully orchestrated illusion designed to shake out weak hands before the system breaks. But here's the thing. The illusion only works if people believe it. And right now, as I speak to you, the largest buyers of physical silver on this planet are not selling. They are accelerating. China is buying. India is buying. The Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds are buying. And Bank of America is sitting there with delivery notices that they cannot fulfill without going into the open market and paying whatever price is demanded of them. Let me walk you through exactly what happened here, because this is not speculation anymore. This is documented fact. Over the past 6 weeks, Bank of America has been hit with an unprecedented wave of delivery notices on their COMEX short positions. We are talking about multiple tranches of contracts that have gone into the delivery process, and the counterparties are not cash settling. They want metal, physical metal, the kind that actually exists in three-dimensional space. Now, normally, when a bullion bank gets hit with delivery notices, they have a playbook. They've been running this playbook for decades. Step 1, they go to their vault inventory and pull the metal. Step 2, if the vault is running low, they go to the LBMA in London and have metal shipped over. Step 3, if London is tight, they go to the refineries and secure freshly minted bars. Step 4, if all else fails, they offer a cash premium to make the delivery notice go away. But here's what's different this time. Every single one of those escape hatches has been welded shut. The COMEX registered silver inventory, the metal that is actually available for delivery, has collapsed to levels that we have not seen since the exchange started publishing this data. We are sitting at approximately 41 million ounces of registered silver backing, a paper market that has open interest representing over 900 million ounces. Do the math, that is a leverage ratio of roughly 22 to 1. For every 1 ounce of real metal sitting in the warehouse, there are 22 paper claims against it. And Bank of America is on the wrong side of that equation with 9 million ounces that they are obligated to deliver. That represents more than 21% of the entire registered inventory of the COMEX. Think about what that means. If they actually go into the warehouse and pull that metal for delivery, they are taking more than 1/5 of the available silver out of the system in a single move. The entire facade collapses. But it gets worse, much worse. Because while this is happening on COMEX, the London Bullion Market Association, the LBMA is experiencing its own crisis. We are receiving intelligence reports from sources on the ground in London that the major vault operators are scrambling. The borrow fees on silver have spiked to levels that are absolutely not normal for a market that is supposedly oversupplied. When you see borrow fees at 8, 10, 12% annualized for a physical commodity, that is not a sign of abundance. That is a sign of scarcity. That is a sign that the metal is locked up. It is spoken for. It is not available. And the banks that need it are willing to pay a premium just to secure a temporary lease so they can meet their delivery obligations. This is the death rattle of a fractional reserve system that has been running on fumes for years, and Bank of America is at ground zero. Now, let me explain to you the exact mechanism that has put them in this position, because you need to understand how we got here. For decades, the bullion banks have operated what is essentially a fractional reserve scheme in the precious metals market. They would take a small amount of physical metal, create a massive tower of paper derivatives on top of it, and then use those derivatives to suppress the price and manage the market. It worked beautifully because 99% of the time, the people holding futures contracts would cash settle. They didn't want the metal. They just wanted to speculate on the price. So the banks could keep rolling their short positions forward, collecting premiums, and never actually delivering. But over the past 2 years, something changed. The cash settlement rate started dropping. More and more contracts started going into delivery, and the banks didn't adjust. They kept shorting. They kept adding to their positions. They kept playing the same game, assuming that the music would never stop. But the music has stopped, and Bank of America is the one without a chair. Here is the smoking gun. In the most recent bank participation report published by the CFTC, we can see that the U.S. banks, which is basically just Bank of America and JP Morgan at this point, are holding a concentrated short position in silver futures that represents approximately 90 million ounces. That is their net short position. Now, of that 90 million ounces, we know from open interest data and delivery trends that roughly 10% of those contracts are at risk of going into delivery in any given month. That's 9 million ounces. The exact number that Bank of America is reportedly facing right now. This is not a coincidence. This is not bad luck. This is mathematical inevitability catching up with a rigged system. They shorted more metal than exists. They shorted more metal than they could ever hope to deliver. And now the bill has come due. But here's where it gets truly insane. Bank of America cannot go into the open market and buy 9 million ounces of physical silver without absolutely obliterating the price. Think about the scale of what we're talking about. 9 million ounces is roughly 280 metric tons of silver. The entire global silver market trades approximately 25,000 metric tons per year. That means Bank of America needs to acquire more than 1% of the entire annual market in a very short period of time just to meet these delivery obligations. And they need to do it quietly, because if the market gets wind of the fact that one of the largest banks in the world is desperately scrambling to secure physical metal, every single trader, every hedge fund, every sovereign buyer is going to front run them. The price will explode before they can even get halfway to their target. They are trapped in a corner with no way out except to pay whatever price is demanded. And this is where the game theory gets really interesting, because the entities that are demanding delivery from Bank of America are not retail investors. They are not small speculators. They are sophisticated institutions. We're talking about sovereign wealth funds. We're talking about large commodity trading houses. We're talking about entities that understand exactly what is happening and have the financial firepower to squeeze. They know that Bank of America is short. They know that the metal is not available. And they know that if they just sit there and demand physical delivery, the bank has two choices: pay up or default. There is no third option. And default is not an option for a systemically important financial institution like Bank of America, because a default on COMEX would trigger a crisis of confidence in the entire derivatives market. The regulators would step in. The exchange would halt trading. The lawsuits would fly. It would be absolute chaos, so they will pay. They have no choice but to pay. Now let's talk about what this means for the price, because this is where the conspiracy deepens. Right now, as I speak to you, the spot price of silver is sitting at approximately $29.50 per ounce. That is the price that you see on your screen. That is the price that the mainstream media reports. But that is not the price that Bank of America is going to pay to secure 9 million ounces of physical metal. The real price, the price that actually matters, is being negotiated behind closed doors right now in private over-the-counter transactions. We are hearing reports from refineries and large dealers that premiums have spiked. In some cases, buyers are paying $3, $4, $5 over spot just to secure immediate delivery of large quantities. That means the real price of silver is already in the mid-30s for anyone who actually needs the metal. But even that is not high enough. Because when you need 9 million ounces and you need it now, you are not negotiating from a position of strength. You are begging, and the entities that have the metal know it. So let's do some math. If Bank of America needs to pay an average premium of 10 per ounce over the current spot price to secure 9 million ounces in the open market, that's $90 million in additional costs just to meet their delivery obligations. But here's the trap. The moment they start buying, the premiums will spike even higher. Because every dealer, every refinery, every vault operator will see the desperation, and they will raise their price. It's basic supply and demand. When a whale comes into a shallow market, the price explodes. And silver is one of the shallowest, most illiquid markets on the planet when it comes to large physical transactions. So that 10 premium could easily become 20, then 30, then 50. We are talking about a scenario where Bank of America could be forced to pay $70, $80, even $100 per ounce to secure the metal they need. And that's just to meet this immediate delivery obligation. What happens when the next wave of delivery notices comes in? What happens when other banks start getting squeezed? What happens when the market realizes that the emperor has no clothes? This is why I've been telling you for months that the real battle is not in the paper market. The real battle is in physical. The banks can manipulate the paper price as much as they want. They can smash it down with naked shorts. They can trigger stop losses. They can scare retail investors into selling. but they cannot print physical silver. They cannot conjure it out of thin air, and they cannot deliver metal that does not exist. The physical market is the truth, and the truth is that there is not enough silver to go around. The mining supply is constrained. The recycling flows are drying up. The industrial demand is increasing, and the investment demand, the demand from people like you who understand what is happening, is accelerating. The bullion banks are on the wrong side of the most powerful macro trend in the commodity markets, and they are bleeding to death. Now let me tell you what the banks are going to do next, because they have a playbook for this situation, and you need to be prepared. Step 1. They are going to try to shake out as many weak hands as possible before they start buying. That means more price smashes, more mainstream media articles about how silver is a bad investment, more exit memos from Wall Street analysts, more margin increases on futures contracts. They will do everything in their power to create panic selling so they can scoop up physical metal at lower prices before they are forced to pay up in the wholesale market. Do not fall for it. If you are holding physical silver right now, you are holding the exact asset that Bank of America desperately needs. You are the counterparty to their short position. And the longer you hold, the more desperate they become. Step 2. They are going to try to negotiate with the entities demanding delivery. They will offer cash premiums. They will offer future delivery at higher prices. They will offer derivatives and structured products as alternatives to physical metal. Some counterparties will accept these offers because they are not interested in squeezing the bank. They just want to make a profit and move on. But the sophisticated players, the ones who understand the bigger picture, will demand physical delivery. They will not be bought off. They will not be intimidated. They will sit there and wait for the metal because they know that the longer they wait, the higher the price goes. Step 3, and this is the nuclear option. The banks will go to the regulators and beg for help. They will claim that the market is dysfunctional. They will claim that there is manipulation happening. They will claim that the demands for physical delivery are unreasonable and disruptive to the orderly functioning of the market. And they will ask for rule changes. They will ask for position limits. They will ask for forced cash settlements. They will ask for anything that gets them off the hook. We have seen this before. In 2008, when the banks were underwater on their mortgage derivatives, they went to the government and got bailed out. In 2020, when the nickel market exploded and a Chinese trader got caught short, the London Metal Exchange literally canceled trades and rewrote the rules to protect the losing side. Do not be surprised if the same thing happens here. The system is designed to protect the banks, not the investors. But here's the thing. Even if they change the rules, even if they force cash settlements, even if they halt trading, the fundamental problem remains. There's not enough silver. And as long as that is true, the price has to go higher. So what does this mean for you? It means that we are entering the final phase of this bull market. The phase where the fundamentals overwhelm the manipulation. The phase where the physical market decouples from the paper market. The phase where the price does not move in a slow, steady climb, but in violent, explosive spikes as the shorts scramble to cover. We are talking about a scenario where silver could go from $30 to $50 in a matter of weeks. From $50 to $100 in a matter of months. From $100 to $210 as the entire fractional reserve system collapses under its own weight. This is not hyperbole. This is not exaggeration. This is basic math. When you have 900 million ounces of paper claims backed by 41 million ounces of physical metal, and the paper holders start demanding delivery, the price has to go vertical. There is no other outcome. Now I want to be very clear about something. I'm not telling you that this is going to happen tomorrow. I am not telling you that you should sell your house and put everything into silver. I'm not giving you financial advice. What I am telling you is that the probabilities have shifted. The risk-reward has never been more favorable. The banks are trapped. The physical market is tight. The delivery notices are piling up. And Bank of America is sitting there with a 9 million ounce obligation that they cannot meet without paying up. This is the setup that we have been waiting for. This is the moment when years of accumulation and patience start to pay off. And if you have been dollar cost averaging, if you have been stacking physical, if you have been ignoring the noise and focusing on the fundamentals, you are on the winning team. But you have to understand that the road from here to 210 silver is not going to be a straight line. It is going to be volatile. There will be more smashes. There will be more panic. There will be days when you wake up and the price is down 10% and the mainstream media is declaring silver dead. Those are the days when the weak hands sell. Those are the days when the banks cover their shorts at bargain prices. Those are the days when you need to have the conviction to hold. Because the alternative is to sell your position to Bank of America at $30 and then watch them turn around and resell it to the next buyer at $50, $70, $100. Do not be exit liquidity for the banks. Do not give them the metal they desperately need at fire sale prices. Make them pay. Make them come to you. Make them offer you a price that reflects the true scarcity of this asset. Here is what I'm watching very closely in the coming weeks. First, I'm watching the COMEX registered inventory. If we see a sudden spike in registered silver, that means the banks are bringing metal in to meet delivery obligations. But where is that metal coming from? Is it coming from London? Is it coming from refineries? Is it coming from sovereign stockpiles? Every ounce that they move into COMEX is an ounce that is being pulled from somewhere else, and that somewhere else is going to feel the squeeze. Second, I'm watching the Shanghai premium. Right now, silver in Shanghai is trading at a premium to COMEX, which means Chinese buyers are willing to pay more for physical metal than the paper price. If that premium starts expanding, if it goes from $1 to $2 to $5, that is a massive red flag that the arbitrage is breaking down and the physical market is decoupling. Third, I'm watching the borrow fees in London. If those fees continue to climb, if they go from 10% to 15% to 20% annualized, that is a sign that the system is in crisis mode. And fourth, I'm watching Bank of America's quarterly reports. If they start disclosing losses on their commodity trading desk, if they start unwinding their derivatives positions, if they start restructuring their precious metals operations, that is confirmation that the squeeze is real and they are taking damage. The bottom line is this: we are not in a normal market anymore. We are in a market where one of the largest banks in the world is trapped in a short position that they cannot escape without massive financial pain. We are in a market where the physical supply is running out and the paper derivatives are starting to unravel. We are in a market where the rules of the game are about to change because the banks can no longer manipulate the price without consequence. And we are in a market where the smart money, the sovereign buyers, the institutions that actually understand what is happening are positioning themselves for a historic wealth transfer from the banks to the holders of physical metal. Bank of America is being forced to deliver 9 million ounces at any price. That is not a theory. That is not speculation. That is a fact. And the implications of that fact are going to ripple through this market like a tsunami. So here's my verdict. If you're holding physical silver, hold tight. Do not let them shake you out. Do not sell into weakness. Do not give the banks the metal they need at prices that do not reflect reality. The squeeze is on. The trap is set. And Bank of America is about to find out what happens when you short an asset that cannot be printed, cannot be conjured, and cannot be delivered. The price is going to $210. It is not a question of if, it is a question of when. And when it happens, when the paper market finally collapses and the physical price explodes, you are going to look back at this moment and realize that you were on the right side of history. This is John A.G. from Currency Archive. The banks are trapped, the metal is scarce, and the end game is here. Like, subscribe, and share.